It has been a wonderful ride, and we are almost at the finish line of this school year. Good morning, my dear virtual learners. I welcome you to another session of Valenzuela Live, Facebook live streaming in Mathematics 10. We will now be focusing on the sixth week of the final quarter. As part of our routine, be sure you have your learning packets at your side together with your math notebook and a ballpen. Are you ready? Let's start having fun while learning the beauty of mathematics. We are formally done with solving different measures of positions, both for ungroup and group data. For today, we would focus on statistical mini research with this learning competency in mind. At the end of this session, you are expected to formulate your own statistical mini research. Oh, brownout. Just kidding. You may be thinking that this is a technical difficulty. Well, no, it's not. This is actually life without research. Plain, it's dark. No technology, no improvement, no breakthrough. I'm sure you are not holding that phone or computer now without research. We don't have Wi-Fi. We don't have any of these live sessions. Looking at our present scenario in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, the most formidable challenge to humanity in a century, it is widely believed that we cannot go back to normal until a safe and effective vaccine is available. That is why researchers around the globe have studied and worked to develop these vaccines. Now, vaccines are available, all thanks to scientific research. Before we go deeper into the topic, let us first have a short activity entitled Research My Thinking. I know all of you, in one way or another, have heard of the word research. What are some things that you can write on the boxes that you think relate to the word research? Or maybe, what is the first word or feeling that comes in your mind when you hear about it? I will be giving you 20 seconds to brainstorm and comment your answers. And that starts now. You can comment some words related to the word research, or maybe your initial feeling when you hear the word. Last 5 seconds. All right, time is up. Thank you for all of your answers. Well, here are some possible responses that you may write. First is C. We have knowledge. Through research, we can gain a lot of it. Tiring, of course it is, or it should be, but it's worth it. Hard, that's normal. That is actually the first impression of many. Okay, data, yes. You would be dealing with actual data that you will be gathering yourself. Time consuming, that's true. Research has steps that you need to undergo, and it would really take a lot of time to finish. Have the last word, improvement. That is the aim and final goal of any research endeavor, to have improvement. Well, these are just some, and I know you have commented a lot of other words. Thank you for your active participation, my dear students. Job well done for this activity. Moving forward, let us define what research is. In simple terms, research means searching for knowledge. It is said to be systematic. We have steps that we need to follow. We identify the problem, conduct review of related literature, data collection, analysis, drawing conclusion, among others. Research is also controlled. There is a plan in every step. No guesses should take part in it. Let me emphasize, no guesses should take part in it. It is also empirical, meaning it is based on experience or concrete data from the field. The data that you can produce can't be gathered from any reading materials or by searching through Google. Last, it is a critical investigation. It is done through a thorough examination of every detail so that nobody can question the results or findings that you can get. The most reliable way we can begin to understand the complexities of various issues is through research. It serves as the basic way for analyzing complicated sets of data, as well as it serves as an exercise for our mind. It requires us to apply critical thinking and exercise objective judgment based on evidence, instead of just opinions or speculation. All throughout this process, we are picking up new bits of information and establishing new connections, which keeps us alert and up to date. Well, according to Cothery in 2006, research is a pursuit of trust with the help of study, observation, comparison, and experiment. Furthermore, Best and Kahn in 1998 said that research is the systematic and objective analysis and recording of controlled observations that may lead to the development of generalization, principles, or theories, resulting in prediction and possibly ultimate control of events. Well, let us try to reflect a little bit. Why do you think research is important and not a burden? Let me repeat. Why do you think research is important and not a burden? You can answer this in your own words. You have 20 seconds to think and comment your answers. State some reasons why you think research is important in our everyday life. Last 5 seconds. All right, time is up. We will go back to your initial answers later on. And I hope as we go along the discussion, you will have an open mind to accept these research concepts that we will be talking about. Let us trace the roots of statistical research. There are two main types of research, namely quantitative research and qualitative research. Quantitative involves processes of collecting and analyzing numerical data, while qualitative involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data, like text, audio, and video, to understand concepts, opinions, and experiences. Statistical research is obviously under the quantitative. Quantitative research makes use of statistics. Now, under statistics, we have two types of data or two broad areas. We have descriptive and inferential. Descriptive describe values in the data set, while inferential makes educated guesses, testing theories, modeling observations, relationships, and predicting outcomes with data analysis. I'm sure you will be encountering inferential statistics later in your life. As for our case today, we are just on the descriptive type. Under this, we have the measures of central tendency, the measures of variability, and measures of position, which is our focus this grading. Now, here are some sample statistical questions. First, what is the average number of cars in a parking lot on Monday mornings? Or how much time do the members of my family spend eating per year? The answers to these questions are not readily available, and you need to gather data and analyze them in order to gain answers. That is how statistical research works. On the other hand, these are some examples of questions that are not statistical in nature. How much does my pet weigh? This can be answered easily and at an instant if you have a weighing scale. No actual research involved. Also, we have, am I hungry? You can also answer this easily. Same with the last two questions. How many teeth does my mother have? And how many times have I watched Star Wars? Now, another concept that is important to research is sampling. It's all about choosing your respondents in your study. This is essential because it would tell you from whom you will gather your research data. So we have two terms related to sampling. First is population. Population consists of all the subjects that are being studied, and the second term is sample. Sample is a group of subjects carefully selected from a population of interest. For example, your population is the total number of students in your school, and your sample consists of grade 10 students only. Let us try to reflect again. Why are we using sample in dealing with research? Again, let's have your opinion here. Why are we using sample in dealing with research? You have 20 seconds to comment your answers. Last 12 seconds. Comment your answers. And your 20 seconds is over. Well, basically, you use a sample because of practicality concerns. It is hard to gather data from all the members of the population. That would cost you a lot of money, resources, and most especially time. Although we must take note that the larger sample that we have, the lesser the error we can get. When you reach higher statistics, you will be introduced with corresponding formulas to compute your appropriate sample size. So for now, let us be familiar with some sampling techniques that we can adopt. Remember that a sample is a group that is carefully selected, quote unquote carefully, meaning to say we cannot just pick them. That is why learning your sampling techniques would come in handy. Our first method is called simple random sampling. This is done by using chance methods or random numbers. As you can see from the illustration, random members of the population constitute your sample. So here are the actual steps in doing simple random sampling. First, you need to number each respondent in the population. Next, you place each number in a bowl, select as many card numbers as needed, and the respondents whose numbers are selected composes the sample. The second sampling technique is called systematic sampling. This is done by numbering each respondent of the population, then selecting nth term from a list. So here you need to construct a population and assign a number to each respondent randomly. From this set of elements in the population, select a number using the table of random numbers for a random start. Using that number as a system, select every nth number of the population as the case may be. Stop when the required number of respondents has been obtained. For example, you pick 3 in your table of random numbers. Then you can get all the respondents corresponding to multiples of 3. The numbers 3, 6, 9, 12, etc. in your list will constitute your sample. Next one, stratified sampling. This is done by dividing the population into distinct groups called strata and getting representatives from each group. If a population has distinct groups, it is possible to divide the population into these groups and to draw stratified random samplings from each of the groups. So all we have to do here is to separate the population units into non-overlapping groups, determined by certain characteristics such as sex, age, education, residence, and the like. Samples are then selected within each group proportionally. Next method is called cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is sometimes referred to as an area sampling because it is frequently applied on a geographical basis. For you to do cluster sampling, you need to divide the population into clusters. And you take the whole chosen cluster as your sample. Let us now have our second activity entitled I Choose You. All you have to do is to identify the sampling technique that is used in the next slides. Just comment your answers. You will be given 10 seconds to think. First item. Josh prepared strips of papers where he wrote the names of all the students of grade 10 Rizal. He put them in a bowl and picked 15 one by one. Let me repeat the question. Josh prepared strips of papers where he wrote the names of all the students of grade 10 Rizal. He put them in a bowl and picked 15 one by one. What sampling technique did Josh use? You have 10 seconds to comment your answer. Still have 4 seconds. Time's up. If you have answered simple random sampling, you are correct. Next one. Our researcher is to pick one barangay in Valenzuela City. He wrote all the names of the barangays in a sheet of paper, put it in a bowl, and picked one. He then got Mapulang Lupa. All of the residents of Mapulang Lupa are considered part of the sample. Let me repeat. Our researcher is to pick one barangay in Valenzuela City. He wrote all the names of the barangays in a sheet of paper, put it in a bowl, and picked one. He then got Mapulang Lupa. All of the residents of Mapulang Lupa are considered part of the sample. Again, what sampling technique did the researcher exemplify? 10 seconds starts now. Still have 4 seconds. Stop. Cluster sampling is correct. Very good. Let's have the third item. Jen asked for a copy of the class list of grade 10 Bonifacio. He then picked a random number. He got 5. She picked all the students in the list corresponding to multiples of 5. Let me repeat. Jen asked for a copy of the class list of grade 10 Bonifacio. She then picked a random number. She got 5. She picked all the students in the list corresponding to multiples of 5. What sampling technique did Jen use? Comment your answers now. And the time is up. Systematic sampling. That's correct. Great. One. Nash divided the population in terms of age. The age brackets are 12 to 18, 19 to 25, and 26 to 32. He then chose the needed representatives in each age bracket to constitute his sample. Again, Nash divided the population in terms of age. The age brackets are 12 to 18, 19 to 25, and 26 to 32. He then chose the needed representatives in each age bracket to constitute his sample. What sampling technique did Nash use? You have 10 seconds. And the clock stopped. Ratified sampling is correct. Good job, grade 10. At this juncture, we can now talk about selecting our research topic. Choosing an ideal research topic is the first step in the research process. It is actually one of the most important decisions students will make. Some students spend a great deal of time looking for potential topics before finally choosing one for research. There are a number of successful strategies to find such a topic regardless of students' academic discipline. So generally, research topics are caused by problems. Problems exist if, number one, there is a gap, there's lack of information which results in a gap in our knowledge. Second, there are contradictory results, meaning you want to verify which of the written research is correct on your set. Third, there is a fact happening around you, but there is no given explanation as to that fact. So here are some possible sources of research topic that you can look into. Number one is prevailing theories or philosophy. Second, we have observations, intuitions, or combination of both. Third is different subjects taken, and from them, identify a problem that interests the teacher or the student researcher most. Fourth is fields of interest or specialization or event from related fields. And five, existing problems in the classroom, school, campus, or university which you want to solve. Next, number 6, we have existing needs of the community or society. 7 is repetition or extension of investigation already conducted, or maybe an offshoot of studies on the way. 8 is advice of authorities or experts from funding agencies. 9, we have offshoots of friendly conversation. And last, we have incidental from interesting topics of teachers during the class discussion. And in picking the appropriate topic for you, here are some criteria or guidelines that you might want to look into. It should be of great interest to you. Work would be much easier if you are interested with the topic that you are studying. It should serve a purpose for a particular sector, meaning the results of your research can benefit a specific field. Third criteria is novelty. It is new. Although we can say that nothing is really new in our current world full of researches. So maybe you can look into less explored topics. Another is it invites complex designing. You can add and relate variables at your will. Importantly, it should be finished within the allotted time desired. If it is a requirement for graduation, be sure you can finish it before graduation. After you have chosen your desired topic, the next step is to write a good title. This part is actually a work in progress. Your first crafted title may not be your final working title. It may be changed throughout the duration of your study. The title summarizes the main idea or ideas of your study. It is the part of the paper that is read the most, and it is usually read first. It is therefore the most important element that defines the research study. So a good title predicts the content of the research. Upon reading the title, the reader must have the idea of what they should expect and what they can get upon reading your entire work. A good title should be interesting to the reader. It should also reflect the tone of writing and should contain important keywords. So here are some guidelines in writing a good title. First is that the title must contain the following elements written here: the subject matter or research problem, the setting or location of the study, the respondents or participants involved in the study, and lastly, the time when the study was conducted. Additionally, the title should be written in inverted pyramid if it contains more than one line. When encoded, all words should be in capital letter, and if possible, it should not be longer than 15 significant words. So here is an example of a research title written in inverted pyramid. We have here Antecedents of Depression Among Senior High School Students of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Valenzuela School Year 2017 to 28. Let us now go into the parts of a mini research. Disclaimer, these are just some basic parts that may be included. There are other additional parts for other research work. Let us start with the introduction. The first part of your research paper is your introduction. This is where you provide an overview of your research topic. It also contains preliminary data about your topic. The introduction summarizes the purpose of your work and explains why it is relevant. Written on the slide is an example of an introduction, or an example of what is to be written in an introduction. I would not read this part, but you may consult your module for a copy of it. The next part is statement of the problem. The problem should be stated precisely, accurately, and clearly. It provides the context for the research study. There are two problems to be stated. First is the general problem, and the second one, these are the specific problems or sub-problems. The general problem includes a statement of the purpose of the study, and it is expressed in declarative sentence. The specific problem or sub-problems is usually expressed in interrogative sentences. So we have here an example of a statement of the problem, which you can also see in your modules. As you can see here, we have a general problem written above, and there are sub-problems written below it. Next part is the scope and delimitation of the study. This is where you define the topic and boundaries of your research study. It is important to limit the scope of your study. The scope contains the coverage of your study, which describes how in-depth your study is. The scope identifies the boundaries of the study in terms of subjects, objectives, facilities, area, time frame, and the issues to which the research is focused. On the other hand, the limitations of a study are the factors and variables not to be included in the investigation. In other words, they are the limitations the researcher sets in terms of study duration, population size, geographic locations, age, sex, type of participants, or other similar consideration. The limitation is used to make your study better and more feasible. It also identifies the weakness of the study, which are not within the control of the researcher. This section answers the basic questions. What is the topic of investigation and the variables included? Where is the setting or location of the study? When is the study conducted? Why was the study conducted? Who are the subjects of the study? And how was the study conducted? Here is an example of the said part. Again, you may read this in your module. Moving forward, we have the significance of the study. The significance of the study is a written statement that explains the significance or importance of your research study. It is a justification of the importance of your work, its impact on your research field, and its contribution to new knowledge. The result of your study should contribute to the concerned individuals or group of individuals, general society, science, etc. Here is an example of a significance of the study. As you can see here, the study hopes to contribute to the community, written there, the students, and the parents. This part shows who would benefit from this study. Aside from this part, from those parts stated earlier, we also have other significant parts of our research, including the following: the review of related literature, methodology, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data, and the summary, conclusions, and recommendations. But we will not discuss this part anymore. Okay? So let us now have our activity number 3, entitled Find My Place. So you need to identify which part of the research paper should each of the following be included. Is it on the introduction, statement of the problem, scope and delimitation, or significance of the study? First one, the general purpose of the study. You have 10 seconds to comment your answer. Where can you find the general purpose of the study? Right, time's up. It is actually on the introduction. Very good. Let's have the next one. Reasons why certain variables were excluded in the study. Again, reasons why certain variables were excluded in the study. You have 10 seconds to comment your answer. Which part is this located? See? Time's up. If you're correct, if you have answered scope and delimitation, very good. Next one. Beneficiaries of the study. Where can you find, or where should the beneficiaries of the study be written? You have 10 seconds to comment your answer. Still have 4 seconds. Time's up. That should be on the significance of the study. Good job. Next. How about the specific problems? Where should this part be located? You have 10 seconds to comment your answer. Yep. I think this one is very obvious. You can find this on the statement of the problem. Last one. How about the coverage or factors that are included in the study? Again, the coverage or factors that are included in the study. 10 seconds. Time's up. That should be on the scope and delimitation. Great job. All right, so much for activity number 3. At this point, we can start having our question and answer portion. We will be answering 3 questions only for today. Right, so let's wait for the questions. Okay, let's see. Can research be easier or simplified? Again, can research be easier or simplified? Okay, so first of all, the word easy is subjective. What is easy for me may not be easy for others, and vice versa. So with this question, anything can be easy, I believe, anything can be easy if you put hard work and dedication. Let us remember that there is no shortcut to success. In a similar manner, there is also no shortcut in doing a research. You need to follow each step correctly. I think it can be easier if you have planned well, because if you have done that, you would commit lesser error and you can finish your paper. Okay. Let's have what is the main difference between stratified and cluster sampling? Okay. Let's have the main difference between stratified and cluster sampling. Well, we have in stratified sampling, you divide the population into groups, and then you would pick samples from each group proportionally. While for cluster sampling, you divide the population into groups and you take one whole group. For example, there are 8 groups with equal number of members. If I will use stratified sampling technique, I can pick one random member from each group to serve as my sample. In cluster sampling, I will pick one random group and all of its members will be considered my sample. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's now entertain the last question for today. Okay, so we have, how many problems do I need to write in the statement of the problem? Again, how many problems do I need to write in the statement of the problem? Okay, so as with the number, there is no limit. You can have 1, 2, 3 questions. It actually depends on what you want to prove. Just consider that you should be able to answer all of your questions at the end of your study. I believe that's it. So for your weekly home learning task, you need to conduct a simple mini research with the standards and parts set by your respective subject teachers. Or you may answer the activities in Module 5 and 6 if that is what is preferred by your subject. Let me end this session with a quotation from Zora Hurston. Research is formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose. Just remember that your curiosity can lead into a prospective research problem. This has been another Valenzuela Live session in mathematics. Thank you for all the love and support, my dear virtual learners. For the last time, I am Sir Neil Raymond K. Factor from Mapulang Lupa National High School, now signing